Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Show Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, of course. And as you can see from the title of this video, Carlos King says, cut the ish. You all talk about protect Black women, but some of you harass a Black woman's business. So he says a lot tonight during his Messy Monday show. As I am filming this video, it is still going live now. He actually addressed Dr. Heavenly no longer co-hosting his Messy Monday show for the second half of Love and Marriage Huntsville in the beginning of his Messy Monday show. And now, as I speak, he is recapping the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac. So he actually said a lot in his soundbite. I have some notes that, I definitely want to elaborate on. So before we get into it all, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel. You hear us content creators asking you to hit those like buttons. When you do that, then YouTube will recommend this video to more people who enjoy discussing the various topics surrounding Love and Marriage Huntsville. And of course, everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion. And the Copyright Act of 1976 says that my fair use commentary on this soundbite is allowed. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into this soundbite. Again, it's right on his YouTube channel. He addresses it after he greets several people. He addresses Dr. Heavenly leaving his Messy Monday show. He probably starts talking about it maybe 10 to 15 minutes in. Prior to that, after he greeted people, he talked about his Reality with the King Huntsville edition with Marceau Scott. And Carlos King says that he has had girlfriends in the past, and he's good friends with one of them to this day. And so he said he's never gone further than second base with a woman. So there you go. I've recapped the first 15 minutes of his Messy Monday show. And then he addressed Dr. Heavenly leaving his Messy Monday show as his co-host. And here is what he had to say.
We started to recap Love and Marriage Huntsville. We even had Trisha, Ken, and Marquez on. I had no idea my husband cast members were watching it, which is funny. So we started doing it because we wanted to make sure we were able to feed you guys the content because we love doing it. And she and I love doing it. I'm only addressing this because Dr. Heavenly mentioned it in an interview and y'all were tagging me and I wanted to address it because she talked about it. Because one thing about me, I'm not going to tell somebody else's story. Okay? And that's just that. So, Dr. Heavenly did mention that she loves me and I love her. So, for the record, again, Carlos King and Dr. Heavenly did not fall out. We are still friends and we still talk. Okay? What Dr. Heavenly mentioned in her interview with the amazing journalists who interviewed her, because they asked me really good questions, and shout out to the guy. His name is I can't think of his name right now, but the guy asked a great question. He's a great journalist, and he's like, "What happened to Messy Monday? We loved it." Da, da, da. And she mentioned that some of the Love and Marriage Huntsville fans were taking it too far, and they were calling her job, and she had to remove herself from it. And what she said is true. And I want to be able to vouch for what she said. Okay? Listen, Love and Marriage Huntsville is my baby. I created it. It's the #1 show on OWN. It has been one of the greatest pleasures of my life. I love this show. I'm still a fan of this show. It's the cast and the crew and everybody involved makes this show great. When it comes to some, okay, we're going to have a real conversation. When it comes to some of the people who watch the show, and I'm not going to say fans, because when you're a fan of the show, you don't do anything to disrupt it. You can have your comments. We all do. I my time, it's about other people's shows too. But there are a certain number of people who do watch the show and they feel the need to take it too far in people's lives instead of watching the show, having an opinion, and going to bed. Right? When I watch Potomac, I tell y'all about it, and I go to bed. I go to work the next day, I keep it pushing. I don't call Giselle's house and try to read her. I don't call Dr. Wendy's job and try to read her. You know what I'm saying? When I recap Atlanta Housewives, I wasn't calling Dish Nation trying to read Portia Child. I said what I said, I kept it moving, and life goes on. Unfortunately, there is a dark side to some of the people who watch these shows. Okay? And they're not a large amount of people. They're large in terms of the amount of time they have to disrupt people, but they're not large in numbers. I would say at the most it's 10 people, child, and that's what it is. But it feels like a lot of people who feel the need to call people's jobs or call advertisers or brands and businesses they're affiliated with to try to get them fired or just disrupt them. And that's what happened to Dr. Heavenly. Okay? Dr. Heavenly was being Dr. Heavenly, funny, and she was giving her opinions about stuff. And she called me one day and said, I'm not going to tell you everything she said. But she did call me and say, there's people calling my job and this is too much. And not only are people calling my job, you know, we interviewed some of your cast members and I'm hearing they're having beef and they're calling me. And she said, Carlos, this is too much for me. It's becoming too much. And I respected what she was going through and how she was feeling. And we made the decision to take a break from Messy Monday because I care about her mental health like I do my cast, like I do anybody. When you come to me with a problem, I always try to solve it or resolve it, right? She came to me and said, us recapping Love and Marriage Huntsville was affecting her. And Dr. Heavenly, as you know, can take anything. And I've never seen her talk this way. And we decided to finish out the first half of Huntsville. And I said, once that's done, then we're good. Okay? You don't have to deal with me anymore. And that's what happened. That's honestly what happened. What I don't want to happen is this to be a situation that continues to happen. I can't control what people do. And I also want to say this. You should not place blame on anybody for other people's behaviors. Okay? People are grown. Don't blame any of my cast members for other people's behavior. People are grown. Okay? When the insurrectionists stormed the Capitol on January 6th, they went to jail. And the person they were trying to whatever they were doing, but people were blaming the former president. At the end of the day, whether y'all think he has something to do, whatever, he didn't go to jail. The people who stormed the Capitol did, because you have to be responsible for your own actions. Y'all should never, ever blame any human being for what other people are doing. Don't blame my cast members for the behavior of other people. These people are grown. And if you do something like that, you are disgusting. It's disgusting to sit up here and watch a show and take it so far as to call people's place of employment harassing them, trying to get them fired, trying to get them removed off billings. That's not okay. And that shit has to stop. If any of my raindrops would ever do anything like that or anything I'm associated with, you guys need to stop. I don't play that with anybody in my life. Okay? My raindrops like to throw shade and keep it pushing. And the gag is they throw it at me. But if my raindrop did something, I'm not responsible for what my raindrops do at all. So we have to hold people accountable who are actually doing these disgusting things. And you guys are crossing the line. And in order for Dr. Heavenly to protect her mental health, that was a piece of it. And she decided to walk away from it for the time being. And I wanted to address it tonight. She did not lie. That's the honest truth. And the reason why I never shared it is because I'm not going to tell other people's business. That's her story to tell. But what she did say is true. And I need for you guys to understand that karma is real. Look at the insurrectionists. Storm the Capitol, threatening people, and their asses are in jail. I denounce it. And I won't stand for it. You're not a fan of the show to do that. You're not a fan of people when you do shit like that. It's disgusting, it's deplorable, and it needs to stop. It's why Tiffany Whitlow walked away from Huntsville. We get into it at the reunion about other things that happened, but you can't sit up and say, protect Black women, and you're harassing a Black woman's business that she owns. Cut the shit. It's foul. It's not cute. Okay? All right. So that's that. What I will say is, listen, you have not seen the last of me in Heavenly.
Okay. So he said quite a bit in just under 10 minutes. So let's talk about it all. Now, of course, he opened up with saying that he loves Love and Marriage Huntsville. From his perspective, he said he created the show and he called LAMH one of his greatest pleasures. He said that he loves the cast and the crew. So he loves this show. I would have to say, from my perspective, this does not surprise me. I can totally tell that he has this love affair with LAMH, and I would too, after, because for me, it would be traumatizing to produce like one of the top reality TV shows at that time, The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and then you no longer do that, and you could sense the trauma, and then he gets blessed with a show idea from Melody Cherie, and it just totally did a 360 on his career. It totally restored everything that, was no longer in a major, major way. So yeah, I am not surprised that LAMH is one of his greatest pleasures. It should be, because that was absolutely amazing, the way that Melody came into his life with the show idea. I know that he transformed it from the HGTV vision to an ensemble cast, pretty much like the type of reality TV show that he was used to producing. But still, he wasn't on camera, right? He wasn't doing the confessionals. He wasn't doing the scenes. It was the cast. And their season 1, it was authentic conversations that I've always said. I always love the conversations on Love and Marriage Huntsville, especially those first couple seasons. But he said that he loves the show. Now, he talked about Dr. Heavenly doing the podcast interview where she said she was no longer co-hosting the Messy Monday show. And he said that Dr. Heavenly came to him with some concerns, saying that people were calling her office. And he used the term mental health. It was affecting her mental health. And she told him, I've interviewed some of your cast members and there's beefs and it's just too much. Now, do I think that some people were in Dr. Heavenly's DMs probably cursing her out for a variety of things, from body shaming Shanita Foster to saying, like caping for Martell? Absolutely. Okay. Now, as far as like people calling her office, I think that's unnecessary. You don't even have to do that to express your disdain for someone. There's the comment section of the actual video. Again, I'm pretty sure people have been in her DMs. There's also, if you want to take a high road, you would just no longer F with their weekly show, right? You would just no longer hear her recaps if you know you're going to be triggered, if you know she's going to be cruel and hypocritical and body shaming people. You could just totally just not listen to the recap altogether. But Carlos did acknowledge that he's convinced it's just a small group of people who would go as far to call someone's business. He threw out the number 10. And as far as calling the business, that number could be accurate. Just calling the business, or the people who would actually call retailers, or possibly show up places. I do think that it's like a small number. So he did say that he did not cast a net over an entire body of viewers or the millimeters. He did not cast that net over everyone. And he actually said that you cannot blame one person for other people's behavior. He said that the people that act a way that he does not agree with, they're grown, they are adults. He says that they, have too much time on their hands. They don't have anything else to do but to troll. And I'm paraphrasing, using the word troll. And again, he thinks that it's a small number of people. Now, using the term mental health, that is very, very serious. And I know that Dr. Heavenly is human. I'm not saying that she cannot have mental stress, but he also said in his commentary, Dr. Heavenly, we all know she can take anything. And this was my first time hearing her talk this way. So it went from saying you feel like she can take anything to now it is affecting her mental health. Do I think that is a little bit of an exaggeration? Possibly. And I say possibly because, again, she is human. So she would definitely be susceptible to some mental stress and some anxiety. But when she did that podcast interview, she said, the people over there, them fans of Love and Marriage Huntsville, they crazy over there. I didn't hear her say anything about her mental health. She just said that, the viewers were crazy and they were calling her business. But he did. So that was something that definitely stood out to me. Now, he said that, his raindrops like to throw their shade and go to bed. He said, but if his raindrops did anything of the sort of calling people's businesses, he would tell them to stop. But he said you cannot blame one person for other people's behavior. I do appreciate Carlos at least verbalizing that, because I didn't think I would ever hear him say that. So I definitely appreciate it. He did not say names. He did not say you cannot blame Melody for a group of people's behavior. But we can infer that that is whom he was speaking on, because that has been the general consensus for people who do not care for Melody Cherie, that, she is the reason why a small group of people may have called the retailers on Stormy's business, may have called Dr. Heavenly's dental office. So he did say it without saying her actual name, that she cannot be held responsible for other people's behavior. Then he gave a bananas comparison. He said, when the insurrectionists stormed the Capitol, they were arrested, not the person who, allegedly may have inspired it or knew of it, was somehow connected to it on his social media platform. They were talking about it. He said not that person was held responsible, but the actual insurrectionists who actually stormed the Capitol. And while this is accurate, that is factual, I just thought, whoa, that is one hell of an of a comparison to compare viewers of a show to the insurrectionists. My goodness. Are the behaviors the same? Calling a dental office and calling retailers the same as storming the Capitol? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, people actually, unfortunately were unalived during the insurrection. People were trampled, law enforcement was beyond violated. So I don't think that it's that the two quite compare, but that was the example that he used. And of course, he said, he threatened with karma. And if you've watched my early videos on the whole Destiny, Sunny, and Moses triangle, I always felt like, okay, sometimes some people weaponize the word karma, almost like if you go to like a church where they're hoping the members are brainwashable, so they try to make you fearful. If you think independently and you do not agree with everything that the pastor and all of the church leaders do, then you're going against God, or something bad will happen to you. I kind of feel like some people, when they try to weaponize karma, they're trying to do that to someone that's in disagreement with them, trying to get them to be fearful or back down. And I just kind of feel like statements like that can be used both ways, because there's no perfect human being, and none of us are really in a position to judge each other. So if you're trying to speak, some sort of karmic transaction against one person, they can easily, speak that against you. And then, it was so funny because when we learned about Moses' whereabouts and people were saying that Sonny and Moses getting married was Destiny's karma, I'm like, now it turns out that really was not karma, because I mean, he's unavailable right now. Like, was that really like a winner? You know what I'm saying? Was Sunny getting him? Was that really like the prize in Destiny's karma? That was just something that came across my mind. So that's why I kind of feel like when people throw that word around, that can easily be used against you, because none of us are greater than the other person, than the next person. But those are always my thoughts. But this was very, very interesting. And I'm very much so intrigued to see the reunion. Love and Marriage Huntsville returns to our TV screens this Saturday. And I would imagine, because usually the reunion airs in January, so I imagine we'll have Love and Marriage Huntsville for the next 3 months, 2.5 months. I definitely want to see the reunion and see the conversation around this topic. And yeah, and and also I wanted to speak on the whole protecting Black women, but some of you all harass businesses. Now, that's protect Black women is going to be a priority regardless. Regardless, the Black women who needs protection, we're also imperfect. And like he said, he thinks it's about 10 people that would call a dental office or call the retailers, and I'm paraphrasing. But all Black women still need protection regardless of what goes down. So that's another comparison that I'm not even gonna factor in or entertain. Black women still need protection, especially when your number one reality TV star has dealt with Revenge P. If she goes out on a date, he's right there. He's trying to get all of the passwords to her devices, using the courts to try and control her and harass her. So regardless of who calls Target and Walmart and who calls Dr. Heavenly's dental office, Black women will always need protection. What did you all think about what Carlos King said tonight addressing the Messy Monday show? What did you think about him acknowledging that one person cannot be blamed for other people's behavior? And I thank you all so much for checking out this video. Again, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video, as it is a free way of supporting the channel. I hope that you all had a magnificent Monday. I did. I cannot complain. It was busy, but I pushed through, I powered through, got to the end of it. And, it's going to be a terrific Tuesday. I did go to the park after work. I wanted to see some of the sunshine. Each day, the days get a little shorter. Then by around December 21st, we'll have the winter solstice. Then after that, the days slowly start getting longer. So that is something that, I focus on during the winter and during these shorter days. Well, once I get to about Christmas, those days are going to start getting longer. I'll start to notice in the second half of January, and it's going to be an awesome feeling. Well, I will talk with you all soon, and take good care. Bye.